हेलो
गुड इवनिंग सर।
वेरी गुड इवनिंग हेलो एवरीवन प्रदीप अपना माइक बंद करो वेरी गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू सी हाउ टू डू operator overloading for relational operators means overloading relational operators. Now there are various type of operational operators that are supported by C++ language like less than,
Good
greater
morning.
than,
Good evening, sir.
less than equal to, greater than equal to, less equal to, not equal to, and equal to. Good evening. Okay, all these relational operators could be overloaded. See, all the our relational operators are binary operators except the not operator, which is a unary operator. Okay, these could also, all the operators, the unary or the binary relationship operators could be overloaded. We can overload any of these operators which can be used to compare the objects of the class. Okay. We'll have a look at a few examples how to do overloading for relational operators. There is a certain pattern for overloading relational operators. I'll show you these one by one. Let's have a look at one such example where we do overloading for less than operator, which is a relational operator. Let me open some more tabs. Hold on.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Rohit. How are you?
Fine, sir.
So, having a look at the relational operator. Have a look at this class. We have a class distance in which we have the feet and we have the inch. Both are private numbers. And then we have a 0 argument constructor, we have a 2 argument constructor, and look at this, we have a copy constructor. Did I tell you about copy constructors? Did I tell you about copy constructors?
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll cover copy constructors also
No, sir.
in this
सर
example.
एक्चुअली इसमें एम्परसेंड बाद में क्यों लिखा हुआ है?
हाँ मैं बताता हूँ. Here we have get distance function, we have show distance function, and this is the operator overloading function for a relationship operator. Here also the same thing is there. Look at this. So we'll see two things here. One, we'll see the copy constructor, and then we'll see the overloading of relational operator. We'll see the copy constructor first. Look at the main function, how it works. The main function is here, which creates the object d1 without any arguments. So this would invoke a 0 argument constructor, which is here, the 0 argument constructor. Here it is. Look at this. The distance, the private numbers feet and the inches, both are initialized with values 0 and 0.0, which are the private numbers. Here you see the private numbers feet and inches initialized to 0 and 0.00 by the 0 argument constructor, and thereby the object d1 is created. Now we create the object d2. The object d2 is created with 1, 2 arguments. So this would invoke a 2 argument constructor. Here is your 2 argument constructor where the values that are supplied 7 and 7.77 are supplied as formal argument in ft and in, and from there they are initialized to private members feet and the private member inch, the 2 argument constructor. And after that we say d1 dot get distance, because d1 had no values, so we had to have some values in d1, and this is how we get the values in d1. We say cin feet and inch both will get stored in the respective object, that is d1, because the function belongs to d1, therefore the feet and the inch also belongs to d1. Then when we do d1 dot showDist, d2 dot showDist, we are displaying both the distances. Okay, here we let us do show distances.cpp. We are displaying, good evening, the value of feet and the value of inches for the object D1 and then for the object D2 twice. Okay, this is the how the show distance worked. And after that, look at this, a very important statement. It is in this statement here that the overloaded operator, overloading function is invoked. At this point for this operator, because for this operator we have implemented the operator overloading function. So the operator overloading function gets invoked here. This operator overloading function will belong to object on the left, means it will belong to D1, and the object on the right will go as argument. Okay, now this is important. We need to understand how it goes as argument. Have a look at this function. Here it is, the operator overloading function. Look at this carefully now. D2 is passed as argument and D2 is accepted as argument. Now, if D2 will be passed as argument from here, then the copy of D2 will be passed. You know, whenever you pass argument, pass by value, then the copy of the value is passed, not the variable itself. So here, in general, we would see that the copy of D2 will get passed as argument. But if we pass a copy of D2 as argument, that means you are creating a new object. So that is not the objective. We do not want to create a new object here. Okay, we want to work with the original object only, because we do not have to change any values. We just have to check the values and compare the values. Therefore, there is no reason to create a new object. But if you pass D1 as an argument, then the copy of D2 as an argument, then the copy of D2 will get argument and will be collected here. But what we have done is we have used ampersand. Look at the prototype. The ampersand is here, address. This is not address as you see in the case of C programming. In C programming, there are two ways of passing arguments. One is passed by value, one is passed by pointer, which is called pass by reference. In C++, there is third way, which is called pass by reference. No, accept by reference actually. So in C++, there are three ways of passing arguments. One is pass by value, another is pass by reference, and third is pass by pointer, and third is accept by reference. Okay, let me.
Sir, ये last वाला थोड़ा बताएंगे accept by reference कैसे काम करता है?
Obviously, I'll tell you. I've just started. So, very first thing, we learn about accept by reference. So, in C++, there are three ways of supplying arguments. Okay, these are number one, pass by value, which you have already seen in C also. Second way is pass by pointer, where you pass the address of the entity, and third is accept by reference. Accept by reference means accept by address. Here, when we invoke the operator overloading function, the operator of loading function belonged to D1 and D2 was passed as argument. Now we are passing D2 as argument. So this D2 will go as an argument, simply as an argument. D2 will be supplied, not the address of D2, but we are trying to supply D2 as argument. But the function doesn't accept D2. Function accepts address of D2. Okay. So the user can supply a normal variable and try to do value pass by copy, but the C++ functions can decide to accept by copy, means a copy of the passed argument, or it can choose to refer to the same object instead of copying the object. So this is called accept by reference, where the invoking function may invoke by pass by value, but the accepting function accept by reference. So here address of D2 is actually referring to D2.
तो सर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि
this D2 is not a copy of this D2. Instead, we tried to pass D2, but the function didn't accept a copy of D2. It used address of, means it is referring to the original D2. Yes, Avinash?
तो it means कि ये एड्रेस का डेटा उठाएगा ना कि एड्रेस.
Address of D2 means referring to the D2 object. Now using the dot connector from within the D2, you can accept anything.
Sir, this D2 is like a pointer.
Your volume is very low. I am not able to understand.
Sir, this D2 is like a pointer.
Not exactly. Because you have come from C programming background. Therefore, you can think about a pointer. But in C++, this is something more than pointer. It is not a pointer which contains an address of a particular object, containing address of an object or address of a variable in the private section of the object. It is a reference to the object. It is third entity. D2 is not a pointer. And look at this. If D2 had been pointer, I would have referred to feet using arrow operator. Because the rule is, if you have on the left hand side, if you have a pointer, this will be arrow. Instead this D2, you can give it another name. Another name also may be D. So this D in the called function is an address of an object, and this is the object. It is not containing address. It is a reference actually. So like this D2 is going to refer to elements inside D2, which is feet and inch. So therefore this D is also going to refer to same space. It is not address. It is an identifier. Like this D2 was not a pointer. It was an identifier. Similarly, this D is also not a pointer. It is an identifier. So that feet and inch, which is referred by D2, now have two references. One is from D2, ID is D2, and ID is D as well. This is not pointer. You will treat it as an ordinary variable referring to the same members. So that is why we have used D dot and not the D arrow, because it is not considered as a pointer. If I would have passed address of D2, that would have been captured here as a pointer to object. Star D. This would have been star D. It is a reference to D, means it is a new name given, alias, given to the same D2.
Sir, if you print ampersand D, then what will you get? We will get the memory address.
You will get address.
The data is
Address of that D2. Okay. So here what we have done, taken a float variable in which we added all the feets, and we also added inches by 12. So suppose inches were 6, so you will get feet dot 5.5. Let's say feet were 5, so you will get 5.5. This feet means D1 dot feet, because the object belongs to D1. So therefore this feet is D1's feet. It is D1, suppose D1 is 5 and this is 6 inch. 6 by 12 is how much? 3. 6 by 12. 6 by 12 is 1 by 5, that is 0.5. So it is 5.5. This becomes 5.5. Then D dot feet, that is the second object, के feet और inches को भी हमने decimal में ले लिया. So we have taken both the floats in decimals and then compared the floats. Which one is less than? If f1 is less than f2, you return true. or to return false. You notice in the line number 4, it is going to return boolean. So
सर तो रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट के पास ऑपरेटर ओवरलोडिंग क्यों नहीं हुआ?
sorry,
On line number 10, why the operator overloading doesn't show?
there's a lot of noise from background. I did not understand what did you say. Can you repeat that?
सर लाइन नंबर 10 पे ऑपरेटर ओवरलोडिंग क्यों नहीं काम किया जैसे पहले काम किया था?
Because in line number 10 we have a floating point variable on the left and on the right. So if you have a char or a int or any secondary or primary object, that would be compared straight away. But if you have objects on the left and on the right, as in this case, then only the operator overloading function would get invoked. Objects. Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Can you repeat again, sir?
What?
So line number 10, why is not considered as a
Operator overloading function did not get invoked here because operator overloading function would get invoked when the objects will be involved. But in case you do not have any objects involved, you have floating point numbers involved. Therefore, the floating point overloading operator does not. Therefore, the operator overloading function did not get invoked. But in this case, the comparison involved the objects. Therefore, the operator overloading function was invoked.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Overloading less than operator. When you do this, then it will be the general syntax for operator overloading for the less than operator is this. This is the general syntax. It will always be just like this. Okay, this is the overloaded operator. Okay, this one, whole thing is the argument, or within the argument address of D1. This has a special meaning. This means except by reference, that is D is referring to the same object that was given as argument. Here we gave what as argument from the main function? We gave this as argument. D2 as argument. Okay. So D2 came as argument in D. Now both D2 and D are referring to the same object, are identifiers for the same object, are alias for each other, and D is not a pointer. This is third way of accepting arguments. This is not pass by, this is accept by. See, we tried to pass copy of D2, but it did not accept copy of D2. It actually created a new identifier for the same object. So in the above case, in the above case, D2 and D are referring to the same object, or you can say D2 and D are IDs for the identifiers for the same object, or D is kind of alias for D2. Okay. Now, about this constant. The object to which this function belongs will be qualified as a constant. In our case, it will be D or D2, both the same, will be interpreted as a constant. Okay. Yeah. About this constant. The object that was accepted by reference will be qualified as a constant, that is D1 in our case, because of this constant. Okay. Now the return value.
सर वो D1 D2 होगा ना?
क्या ये वाला?
Yes sir.
नहीं, it is object to which the object that was accepted by reference will be no. I have given the wrong statement.
तब ये D2 होगा.
To which the नहीं ठीक तो था. Oh, it was okay. It was fine. This will be D2, and this will be D2 or D.
D1.
This will be D1. The object to which the function belongs. So function belongs to D1. Okay. This is the object that was accepted by reference, qualified as a constant D2. Okay. Now the return type. As this is a relational operator being overloaded, it will always be evaluated to true or false. Boolean true or false. Okay. So this is how the operator overloading function for relationship operator less than or greater than will be
Sir?
interpreted. Yes, Devanshu?
Sir, ये constantly कर रहे हैं.
I am sorry, there is a lot of noise in your speaker. microphone actually.
Sir,
Can you repeat that?
सर कांस्टेंट क्यों कर रहे हैं?
Why you're doing constant for D1 and D2? Is that your question?
यस
See, this is a comparison operator. We just have to evaluate which one is bigger. Is D1 less than D2? So we don't have to alter the values of D1 and D2. Not. We just have to check. Is D1 less than D2? So therefore, the values should not be altered. Therefore, we have made both the objects as constants. Okay.
ओके सर
Now here it will return boolean true or false. Okay. If ft1, which is the total, which is actually d1, is less than ft2, which is actually d2. If this is true, then it will return true, or it will return boolean false, which will be interpreted by your main function if by true or false. If it is true, then you will say that the d1 is less than d2. If it is false, then you will say d2 is less than d1. As simple as that. You understand? Okay, there is another thing here, which is a copy constructor, which I have not shown you. We just say begin copy constructor, end copy constructor. Let's see where this copy constructor gets involved. So let me save all the files and now make your program. Make. The make will build everything successfully. We have created demo. Executable. Executed. See what happens. Zero argument constructor invoked because we created d1. Then we did get distance, show distance, operator less than. Oh, these are compilation. Now here it is. Zero argument constructor invoked because we created d1. Then two argument constructor got invoked because we created d2 with two arguments. Then do get distance for d1. So we are going to enter values 9.99. Okay. The moment we enter values, get distance is over, show distance comes up and displays d1, which is 9.99, and then again displays d2, which is 7.77. We have called these two functions here and here. After that, operator overloading function begin and end and determines that d2 is less than d1. Is that okay? Copy constructor did not get invoked here, as obviously we have not created any new object because we have accepted by reference. No copy of the object that was passed as argument d2 was created. So this is how you will do operator overloading function for relationship operators. Is that okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
यस सर
Okay, sir.
Let's have a look at another example. Overloading input output operator. Okay, look at this extraction operator, or look at this insertion operator. Now these two operators are operator overloading, are IO operators. Okay, which is used with C in and C++. Or C out in C++. You have used this, isn't it? You have done C programming also with me. You have used the same operators for right shift operator
Bit shifting.
and left shift operator, bitwise operators. So this operator is already overloaded and have two forms. isn't it? On the left hand side of this, if you have CIN, or on the left hand side of this, if you have Cout, object of iStream class or object of OStream class, then the operator overloading function will be invoked. Whereas if on the left and on the right you have a non-object entities like int char, then it will be interpreted as bitwise operators. C++ is able to overload input and output operators. These operators can also be overloaded to perform input and output for different users and different objects. It is important to make operator overloading function a friend of the class. Now, first of all, we have to understand, before we learn the operator overloading for these operators, we have to learn why we need operator overloading for these operators. Well, the reason is, suppose you are doing CIN and you have to take some input. Then on the right hand side of this CIN operator, that is the extraction operator, you usually put some variable, isn't it? Means you tell CIN that the value will be put in this variable. So if on the right hand side, instead of variable I put an object, then what happens? What happens? Means if you do like this, CIN D. D is an object of class distance. Now the problem happens for C++. Let us see why we need to overload these operators. D is an object of some class. Now inside D, of D's class, there would be some private members in which we need to stores the data coming from stdin using CIN. Obviously, but the problem is, inside D there are many members in private section where the data has to be stored. Now CIN or insertion operator does not know where to put data, that is, in which members of private section or public section. CIN does not know that the data that is CIN or insertion operator does not know that the data that is coming in from stdin will be stored in which members of private section of the class. Had there been ordinary variable like char, int, float or something like that, then CIN would have known that okay, this is the variable where you have to put the data, and there is one data and one place, so one data will be stored in one place. But when you deal with objects, inside the object private or public section, you can have any number of data elements. Though you have only feet and inches, but you may have, suppose you have a data, class employee, then you will have employee name, employee ID, employee Aadhaar card, employee voter ID card number, and PAN card number, employee gender, employee age, employee address, employee profession, education, X, Y, blah blah blah, so many data. around 50 odd data elements per employee will be there. So CIN or the insertion operator will not know where to store data inside the class. Okay, therefore what we will do is we will write operator overloading function for insertion operator, and in that function we will explain that the data that is coming from CIN through the insertion operator will be stored in which private section or public section elements of the object D. So there is a need to overload the insertion operator if you want to do object IO. Is that point clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
These input operators
sir.
should be overloaded. So this is how you overload these operators. Have a look at this operator. Now this is the operator being overloaded. Insert extraction operator. हम extraction operator कर रहे हैं. So extraction operator overloading. Like we are doing cout. You see, cout will display the information. That is, either there would have been a variable here or a string here will be displayed first distance colon. But then there is an object. Now from this object, inside this object there is few private members, maybe some public members also. How will the cout and the insertion operator understand which elements of D1's private section or public section has to be picked up and displayed? It does not know. So we have to overload the input-output operator, that is the extraction operator, and in that put in the logic in the operator loading function as to which data from the private section or public section of this object even will be picked up and displayed along with the first distance. There are two insertion operators used here. One is this and one is this. Overloaded function is invoked for this one because look at the left hand side of this and the right hand side of this. No object is involved. This is the object of OStream class for which the function is already defined, and on the right hand side also there is a string. But look at this. On the right hand side of this there is a user defined object. Therefore it is for this overloaded function, insertion operator, that the overloaded function would be invoked. You got that?
Got it, sir.
Let's see an example for this.
Yes, sir.
No, first let us try to understand what is this all about and why it is friend. Did you see that on the left hand side? So let's try to understand this first. This insertion operator is being overloaded. Look at the arguments now first. There are two different arguments. We will take up both the arguments one by one. One is this, another is this. Let's talk about this first. Second argument. This is what? If you look at the insertion operator, on the right hand side of, as usual, the operator overloading function will belong to object on the left, cout, and the object on the right will be used as argument. Okay, so let's take this statement. No, let's take this one. This is is the object on the right side of the insertion operator. ठीक है? Notice it is accepted by reference because we do not want to create a new object. We just want to output this value. We don't want to create a new object because we don't want to manipulate the data stored in D1 being passed as argument to D. So we don't want to manipulate the data in D. We just want to display that data using the insertion operator and further using cout. So because we do not want to modify the data, therefore there is no point in having a copy of data passed by copy of data or passed by pointer. Instead we use a reference to the same original data D1 that you want to display, and the same original data is displayed, and you also notice that we have made it constant. We have made it constant. The object being referred to by is qualified as a constant because there is no need to modify it here. This was the second object. Now tell me, if the operator overloading function was invoked from this particular insertion operator, then tell me, the operator overloading function will belong to which function? Sorry, the operator overloading function will belong to which object?
This belongs to D1.
D1, sir.
So, the operator overloading function belongs to object on the left, which is cout in our case, as said by Megha. Now, the object on the right is D1. For the operator overloading function, the object on the right is D1, and the D1 will be passed as argument, which is accepted by reference. Okay. Now, look at this additional object being created here. This is something that we have to understand. This is a reference to the object, to an object of OStream class. Now what happens is, why this is needed, I'll tell you in a moment. Wait. First of all, we need to understand one thing here. Why we have friend function? That I'll explain you, then I'll come to first argument. Why the return type is friend? Friend means, I have told you about the friend functions in the beginning of during constructors. You remember? We spent a full class on that. Now the friend function is a function. A friend function is a function which doesn't belong to any class. A friend function is a function which is available in two classes, two or more than two classes. A friend function is a function that can access object and the private public members of one class, and also the private member public member functions of another class also. Okay, the friend function should be given as a prototype in both the classes, and it is not called part of class, it is called friend of class, which can access both public and private sections of the class. Such a function should take as arguments objects of both the classes. You remember I told you in the beginning. Now this is the operator overloading function that we are talking about, trying to design. This operator overloading function is dealing with cout object of OStream class, and it is taking D1 object of distance class. So this operator overloading function is going to work on two different objects of two different classes. Therefore, there is a need now that we should make it a friend class for both cout OStream class and D1, that is a class distance class. Okay, and the rule is such a function should have an object coming as argument for both the classes. So the two objects that share the friend function are OStream class and distance class. That's why you have references to both the objects in here. Cout is the object of OStream class. Output is also a reference to the object of OStream class. So both are referring to same. Cout is referring to object which displays. OStream is also the same object with another name which displays. Because this operator overloading function deals with objects of OStream class and distance class. As this function works for both classes, therefore it is made friend for both the class in both the classes. As per the okay. Now, as per the rules for the friend function, objects of both the classes involved in a friend function should go as argument. Therefore, objects of OStream class and distance class both come here as argument. Now people see that okay, this is the format of overloading the insertion operator, but we see and understand why each and everything is like this. This is the difference in learning for rest of the people and for you. Okay, when I used to get when So this is how the insertion operator is overloaded, and this is why it is like this. Okay. So that's all I got for you today. In the next session, I will implement an example for insertion extraction operator, and also I'll show you some other operator overloading functions for other relational operators like equal to, not equal to, greater than equal to. It's almost same with slight variations. Okay. So guys, please understand that how the insertion operator is overloaded, how the relational operator is overloaded, and why they are overloaded like this. That why has to be answered properly, right? That is where the concept is. Chalo, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Okay.